Clash of Clans podcast, special episode number 21. Hey guys, this is Scotty from Clash of Clans podcast coming to you with a special episode with our friend Boaz. This episode was so big that we had to cut it into two, basically. So we have a big episode. We're going to cut it and go right into the second. So enjoy, and I hope you're keeping it clashy. And we're back! Well, I'm back here with Boaz. Biggie Boaz.
How's it going, fans in the stands and or fans in the clans?
The clan. I keep typing clam in the chat for some reason all the time. And I
People
just think
probably
that's
know
funny.
what you mean.
Yeah. What a clam. What a clam we got going here. So we're back. We got a lot to talk about. It has been exhausting, but fun. Big learning curve. And I think the big thing, because, we got House of L going. Here in House of L, there's been a lot of war, a lot of strategies. It's figuring out this new update stuff and farming, and it's really kind of crazy. So the episodes, even just getting to edit and getting those posted, it's been tough because it's so much been going on. So one thing that we just decided in L is that we're going to do what we did in Minnesota Nice, and that is switch our war days to Sunday and Tuesday, because so we start Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Central Daylight Savings Time and 9 p.m. on Tuesday. We're right at that time. And then that way we can farm for a few days, because we just got off of a 3-war cycle, and it's killer. It's killer for me. Only because I've been spending so much money on armies and getting it out, helping with dragons, helping with, troops that people need. I had like 6,000 donations.
Jeez.
This last 2 weeks. And I mean, I'm already up to 1,000 since Sunday. That's 3 days. So, So I need to get my research going, because the Go Wipe is now a thing. And I was going to do the jump. I was going to do the freeze, and I'll hit 3.5 million going to a war. The last one I came out with 1.5 in Elixir. And so I need to be able to farm, and I think people are feeling that. And so that's the big announcement. So if you want to drop by and say hi, the best days to do that are post Thursday night until Sunday. If you want to stop by and say hi and L, because I think people have wanted to stop in, and we don't accept people during war, so that'll help with that too, and whatnot. And Zod, I believe, is going to be doing the exact same thing, just to help with farming. So that's a big announcement, kind of.
Yeah, and I can see where in a clan that's like has such a wide range of town hall levels, like House of L or House of Zod, where it would be a bigger drain on the top people than in like a clan where everyone is pretty much the same town hall level. Because like in a high level, or in a clan where there's some high level people and then mostly lower level people, you only want the high level people to fill the war castles. I mean, the defensive war castles, and probably really also the attacking war castles.
Yeah.
And so it's like, a few people that are doing all the war donating, and so it's a much bigger drain than if it was like a clan of, all Town Hall 10s or something, then they can all donate. And so it's not as big a drain on, the resources of the top people like that. So definitely big props to all the Town Hall 10s in the House of L and the House of Zod that are keeping everyone supplied with high level troops.
Well, yeah, and I was just looking at that, and I'm gonna record with Boneyard tomorrow, and I want to talk to him about that, because he's been doing some stuff in Zod, and there isn't very many Town Hall 10s, and so I can see that as a big drain, and we've been getting some really crazy matchups in L, and so it's been going good. You know, I've donated a lot, but so have other people. And I think, you know, it comes down to like the lower level town halls. We want to give everybody max stuff. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there's a couple problems that happen with, you know, especially during war days, you see the stuff and people are asking for things. And so one of my directives to everybody in L is if it's going to be a war, make sure you put war and what it is you want. And I tried to tell everybody this in the last war, and it's like, hey, give a heads up. Mm-hmm. You know, because
give people time to cook the troops.
Yeah, because if you want a dragon, I can cook a dragon. You know, if I know, okay, these people are going to need it. But then what ended up happening is I'd boost my barracks, so that way I could donate to people, because people were asking for it all of a sudden. And what was happening is I would just sit there most of the day and not be out farming because I'd have troops ready.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and so this last war I was really careful. Okay, 2 wars ago I went way, way down. And then this last war was much better until the end. And I realized that a full dragon army is 500, almost, you know, with 12 dragons is almost 500,000. And
that's a good point.
And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Because there was a couple, I was going to go after somebody, so I cooked an all dragon army. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. You know, I'm going to use this different attack. Had I known that it was 500,000, had I thought about it, that would have made, you know, a little bit difference in the pocketbook. But so that's one thing. And I think we're getting into a rhythm of people donating their specific troops. You know, if you can have somebody who's kind of on the wizards, and you could have somebody who's on dragons, and kind of get into that rhythm, that helps a lot too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Then those people can have like a certain section of their camp is, you know, is devoted to, you know, a bunch of that troop, but then they can also make, you know, archers and barbs, or, you know, with some other barracks, and they can do a little bit of farming. Yeah, you know, on the side.
And I farmed through that last war because I had to. I was like, you know what, I'm really, and I don't know if this is just something that happens in new clans, and you know, if it's something that happens, or ways that clans are set up, I guess, because you know we're a new clan, we're growing, you know, we're maxed out in terms of numbers. Pretty much, we're at 49, but we're hitting that rhythm, and so I think we're going to be in a better place, and knowing that other people were all right with the 2-day war cycle, I think is going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and L has pulled off some really big upsets in clan wars, and you can just see the huge advantage of, you know, of your low level people actually being high level players. You know, if you're matched up with clans that have low level people who it's their primary account, it's just such a huge advantage to have, you know, your low level people where it's their, you know, second or third account or something, and they're so much better at attacking compared to, you know, where they are in the game with that particular account.
Right. You know, and it says a lot about strategy. You know, it says a lot about, you know, if you listen, you look and take into account, if you're a low-level player in any clan and you're going into war, you know, it's really about strategizing. It's about taking the one you can take. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I'm going in. So this last war with in Zod, Xace was in Zod, and I went in a couple higher than me and 3-starred. I cleaned up after somebody. And then I mean, this matchup in Zod was ridiculous because like their clan castles weren't filled. You know, the other team, you know, they didn't really attack, and it was 1 star away from a perfect war. But I went 15 higher than me in 3-starred on the other side. And
I thought it was a perfect war.
No, I don't think it ended up being. I think
a whole bunch of people said it was. You should look at the.
I can't now because Xace moved over to Minnesota Nice for a bit.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But I'll
I'm
ask
sure
Boneyard.
when you record with him tomorrow, he'll definitely.
I don't think they got the last star on the top guy in a weird base. It was just a weird base, you know. it was a Taco Lover style base.
Uh-huh.
Because they had the walls all over, and then all the all the storages over here, and all of this over here, and I watched Boneyard do a really good attack on it. I watched Monster do a really good attack, and it was just so widespread, and so it's one of those things with those Town Hall 10s. It's hard to 3-star one,
especially when people have a weird base that, like, maybe it's a crappy base design compared to some more common ones, but when you haven't seen it before, like, that element of surprise is huge, because there can be like a really, really good base design, but because it's so good, tons of people use it, and so you have a lot of experience attacking that design. But then someone might have like a just stupid ass design that no one in their right mind would ever use, but because no one would ever use it, no one's ever seen it. And so that, is kind of...
And that's what I love about, Boneyard and I talked about it. Taco Lover just came into L. No walls. Taco Lover has no walls.
Mm-hmm.
And what's great about it is that he eats up so many attacks.
Yeah.
Because somebody goes in, a lower level person goes in thinking, okay, this guy doesn't have any walls. I'm going to totally clean this up.
Mm-hmm.
Just get smashed. You know, maybe 1-star, maybe usually I think 1 or 2 maybe. Mm-hmm. And then another guy goes, oh God, you could have easily done. And so they go in. And
I can do that.
And then
a bunch of people get 1, then a bunch of people get 2. And
I think he had 7 attacks on him, And
like a sponge.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with Lords in L. His setup, and that's what's great about lower level people in your clan, is that they're going to eat up those attacks, and if you can make sure that those bases are set up, that you've got the right troops in the war castles that slow things down, and if you can stop people from getting that 3-star at least on the first try, that's a success.
Well, yeah, because then another attack needs to be wasted by them if they want to get the 3rd star, because that's what's always such a bummer if someone 3-stars on the first try, because it's like, oh, now they have that base out of the way. It's demoralizing if you get your base 3-starred, because it's like, well, I'm out of the war. They already got everything they can from me. No one's going to waste any more attacks on me, and it's so much nicer if the first person, fucks up, and then they have to keep going.
Okay, you figured out the traps. And granted, my one attack, that was just too higher than me on the last one. I saw where the bombs are, but it comes down to strategy and experience in playing the game, because I would have known those bombs were there, pretty much anyways, or I would not have let my troops get close enough until I was sure that, the bombs could be anywhere. But if you attack right, you shouldn't really have to worry too much about it.
Unless you have hogs. That's the thing. Because
hogs. Oh my God, Supercell. What did you do to my hogs?
Wait, is that guy not? I was going to. Oh, yeah, there he is, Chris.
So, yeah, I wanted to. So, yeah, you're right. We did come off of a couple upsets. The one that we went up against, that was. This last one was 113 to 63. We've got awesome participation. Mm-hmm. Some people got booted after it, and people had gotten booted the week before. I know King got booted. Matt booted King, and Mateo, or I can't remember what. And I feel really bad about King being booted. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm going to do a little... there's a few people that I'm going to do that I was going to talk a little bit about. He was one of them.
Okay, yeah, we can talk. I feel really bad about him being booted. But it was, it's kind of one of those things where we were getting these horrible matchups. Mm-hmm. So top DN, BN, we went up against total.
Yeah, that one was crazy. They had just... so many Town Hall 10s, and they were like using barbs and archers on us. I don't know if they were like a crappy clan or if they looked at us and they're like, how the hell did we get matched up with these guys? Because they were like... Well,
yeah, it was like their top guys were like top guys. You had to go in super hard. but they boxed in their lower guys. The
Yeah.
top guys went in. We lost. We had 83 to 99, and I thought was amazing because everybody put their all in.
That was insane that we were even within that, even within 50 points of them, because it was such a lopsided matchup. That was really said a lot about us not giving up and stuff too. Because I was like, can we just give up? Because this is bullshit. We have no way of winning.
And that's the thing. It's instead of giving up, what we did is we stuck to the strategy that, of course, it has failed a couple times, but it has only failed a couple times, I think, because the matchups were wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it really only quote unquote failed that one time because the matchup was. But the one before that, the Mato Pato, I just had to.
Yeah, I'm looking at the war log.
They were really heavily favored at the beginning, much better bases and stuff, but what happened was they all went for guaranteed 3 stars. And so they went at our lower guys, and we said, try to challenge yourself with at least your first attack. Try to, push your limits, go for someone that you're not sure if you can get, try to 2-star someone higher up. And then halfway through the war, they were way, way in the lead. But I was like, we're going to win this easily because they had way more attacks, but they only had, I remember I marked down the stats. They only had 5 stars in our top 20, and we had 29 stars in their top 20. Right. So even though they were in the lead by 20 or 30 points, I was like, we're going to win this easily because suddenly so many of them can't use their attacks because all of our lower guys are 3-starred. And so then we could, just take our time, second attacks, people going in and, 3-starring people closer to their level. And we ended up blowing them out. Well, we won 126 to 106. But we just executed it perfectly. It was just really,
it's the same marching orders. Go in, go for someone you think you can 3-star, but a 2-star is awesome.
Really, no, I mean, but a 3-star is totally overrated because the top bases, you're never going to 3-star any of them. You don't, that's not the goal for the top, 10 or so bases. At least, I guess I'm talking about the true Suns, but, in the maxed out bases, no one's going to 3-star them. So, a 2-star on a max base is way, even a 1-star on a max base is a way bigger contribution to your clan than a 3-star on a lower base, just because someone else would be able to 3-star the lower base.
Yeah. And
easily.
That's the thing with the first attacks. And our guys have been doing great at hanging back. And now it's not so much about hanging back necessarily, because if everybody's going for somebody that, if you can get a guaranteed or a pretty good shot at a 2-star in your first attack, that's awesome. Because the more
as long
people,
as it's, a challenge, a challenging one.
Yeah, and that's the goal. And I think when we're kind of hitting our stride, and everybody has that understanding, hey, you're not getting kicked out if you have a bad attack. If you push yourself and you go for somebody you think you can, if it's in the high end of the clan, if you can get a 1-star, awesome. Because you can always go lower on your second attack and clean up where needed. But what's been
there's a huge difference between a bad attack and attack that doesn't get any stars. You can have an awesome attack that ends up with 48% or something. You don't get any stars, but then someone else can have a terribly executed attack and still get 2 stars, but something they should easily have been able to 3-star. And so it's not you can't really base it on stars at all. You have to base it subjectively on how they place the troops and the spells and
and I think the thing before, and this is why I feel bad about King Richie, Mateo, I think that's his name, was in there. Their bases were just so high, in terms of they're powerful, and anybody would be lucky to have them as players because they're so hard to 3-star. And they would be perfect in something like Minnesota Nice or probably the True Suns, where your guys have a ton of Town Hall 10s.
Well, here's the thing. So I'll do the little the little bio on King Richie. So first, shout out to King Richie.
Yeah,
really
shout out
nice
King
guy.
Richie. Sorry, man.
We chatted with him in the chat and stuff. Really nice guy. So a little background, I guess Scotty already mentioned he's maxed out, literally maxed out. Even I think his Teslas are at 8 now. So this guy, back in the day, he would be the king of Clash of Clans, like when there was no profiles and when there was no clan wars, this guy would be, the top dog. Any clan, everyone like, oh my God, you're so good. And there's tons of people out there like that when the profiles came out, you realize, oh, okay, well, they use gems to get that base. And so many of the top people, they got their base with gems. You can see the gold grab doesn't even come close to matching up with the level of the base.
Right. And to each his own. Gemming. Yeah, if you want a gem, that's all right. I mean, it's just not my choice. If you have the money, if you're like broke and you're using your money, on gems that you should be using to like feed your kids, and you're like selling food stamps to get, iTunes cards or something, then that's not cool. But, right.
If you have plenty of money, then more power to you. You're making the game free and better for the rest of us and stuff.
Yeah.
But so in the past, it would just be like, wow, he's awesome, because no one would have any way of knowing anything else, knowing what his attacks are like, or, what his gold grab is. So the profiles came out and you can see, people's gold grab. So, how much they spent on their base, you can kind of get an idea. And then wars came out. And then that's the real issue is for someone like this, is that he's, awesome in a trophy pushing clan. Like they would kill to have this guy, like great base, really nice guy, active and stuff. But
that's a good way to put it. Yeah. In a trophy pushing.
In a trophy push clan, he's, ideal member. But in a war clan, the issue is if your attacking skills aren't in line with your like base quality, then you're going to be a liability to the clan, because someone with a really great base who can't get stars on an equal type of base is going to be a detriment to the clan, because they're going to inflate the level of the opponent, but they're not going to make up for the amount that they inflated. So,
and that's where I think it really came down to, was that it wasn't, he went for some good attacks, and we all fail, God, the last war, but with hit such a high level base and in our range of people in the clan, it was one of those things where some of these matchups were just unexplainable. Like, I mean, it was ridiculous. The one, it was like, how in the, and same with Mateo, he had a really high town hall things. Things were weird. So he was high in the thing, but it was more inflated. So
and it's like with these guys, it's not necessarily that they're bad attackers, but you have to be an amazing attacker to keep up with the base that you're, putting into your clan, so the amount that you're inflating your clan's, numbers for the, whatever the matchup algorithm is, if you can't hold up, your end of the bargain on the attacking side, because then conversely, like there's guys like, for instance, Kevin in the True Sons, who he's, maybe 10th or so, something like that. One of kind of our lower town hall 10s, maybe 8th to 10th or so. But he's always going up and attacking, the top, 3 or 4 guys, or at least the top 5, and getting stars on them. And so a person like that is kind of the opposite. Like they're not bringing a huge amount of, defensive numbers onto your side, but they are, they're attacking way above their weight class in terms of getting stars on the other side. So if you have a clan full of people that are overachievers, you're really going to excel, because
that reminds me of Unique Name 123, which is a unique name, and I think it's awesome. Yvonne Z, who's also now in the clan, his other account, because it's not he played so much on Unique that he pretty much caught up with himself as his regular one, and he goes. Every war pretty much goes up, 2 and higher. I mean, like, I don't know. There's 4, 5, 6, and it comes down. I think, and this comes back to it, is making sure you've got the right troops and making sure you've got the strategy, and especially with those lower level things, like with Xace. I love battling with him in the wars because I can go in, and here's what I take. I take in 16 giants. So I've got I'm in Town Hall 7. I got maxed out army camps. And so I take in 16 giants, 10 wizards, and 8 wall breakers, and then barbs and archers. And the first thing, and this happened, I saw it a couple times, and we're getting so much better with this, clear the clan castle. If you've got giants on the board, if you have giants on the board and you have not cleared the clan castle, you're screwed. There's been so many attacks that I've watched, so in normal farming, you can bet. You can say, all right, well, maybe there's not going to be something in there.
Yeah, because oftentimes there's not anything in the clan castle when you're farming. And
when you're talking about, and I guess I haven't seen Town Hall 8 and Town Hall 9, in wars. Like, I haven't been at that level in wars. But you have tons of time to clear that board for the most part, unless you're using all dragons. And so if you might as well just surrender. If your giants are out there and you have not cleared you have fucked up big time, and that's just clear the clan castle, because if I do that, I just take my time and I'll send something in, make sure that I get enough troops in there that everything's pulled, and you can click on that clan castle and you can see whether or not there's the numbers in there, how many troops there are, if there's any troops. So it'll say 0 out of 20 if there's nothing in there. But if you can pull those guys,
I didn't realize that. That's a new thing for me. So I gotta check that out.
And I see people who have improved tremendously because they realize I can just take my time. Because if you don't take your time, you have a lot worse of a chance at a 3-star than if you run out of time.
Well, certain attacks you can take your time, and then, like, when I've been go wiping, you need to do everything in such quick succession, though. Yeah. Like, you need to lay down everything in perfect order. So, like, in some attacks, it does need to be really quick, like, thinking on your feet, doing all these different things. But yeah, there's a lot of them where it's just slow down, take your time. You have plenty of, especially if you're going for a 2-star.
And I'm talking about Town Hall. I'm going to say Town Hall 8 and below. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm really talking about. And this is advice I want, like, everybody in my clan, in our clan to hear, because you know what? And if you drop a giant, you see those things coming, and coming out. Just stop dropping any other troop. Because sometimes you mess up and you forget about the clan castle. But that's number one in the war. Mm-hmm. And if you make a mistake and they forgot about it, you can stop what you're doing, lure them out. Don't try to throw troops at the problem, because it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because then it's so.
Well, the thing though, in for a lot of Town Hall 9s and 10s, most clans or most bases that we see in the True Sons, the people have a unlurable clan castle, quote unquote, which means that there's always defenses that are slightly outside the range of the thing. And then maybe if there's a place that looks like it's easy to lure, then they're going to have Teslas there. And so, if someone doesn't place their clan castle perfectly, you can just send in a couple hogs, it draws out the troops, then you take them to the corner.
And they have to be in there for a long enough time that everything gets pulled. Yeah, and I'm really talking about the bottom.
Unless they packed in all the wizards, then they pull real quickly. So that's why it's important to have a bunch of archers in there before it gets to the to the wizards and the witch and the dragon, or whatever else is in there, because you want it to take them a while. So a lot of times for high level people, you need to destroy a ton of buildings if you're going to lure, which is why high level people tend to bring lightning spells in.
Right.
But yeah, if you're low level, don't waste a spell slot, especially if you only have 3 spell slots. Do not waste a spell slot on a lightning spell.
Yeah,
because
I haven't been taking them in. I've been taking it at 3 heal. And I'm really talking about the bottom 10 because this is usually, with such limited troops and those bases, it's not if a high guy goes in and takes out the bottom 10 because you've got really high level troops and sometimes it'll win. But, but most
anything Town Hall 8 or lower, they can't make it unlurable. They don't have enough. I mean, they'd have to really spread out their stuff and do weird things to make it unlurable. So you're always going to be able to lure the clan castle with a few hogs for anything that's Town Hall 8 or lower.
Yeah, and and so it's just like if you can get past that, because I've seen people in L who have got over that, and I'll watch them, and I'm thinking of RG Baseball in the last war. And I'm blanking on names. I'm thinking of like the Warlog, but all of a sudden now he's taking his time. 3 stars. He spends the time drawing out those castle troops, because those clan castle troops at those low levels, they've got the big guns in there against your troops that aren't that strong. You take your time, you get those out of there, and then you go in. And so
yeah, that's a good point, because in these clans that we face, they also have high-level people, so all the low-level guys are going to have max troops in their clan castles, so it's even more important.
I guess that's important to clarify. Is like we're talking about a clan that's matched up, evenly. But, this is what's going to happen if you're in a clan.
Anywhere it holds true, though. You want to lure the clan castle if possible.
If you can. And depending, if it's an all-drag attack, Boots said before to me, he said, I just go all drags, and I watch it do well, because if I would take in troops to try to lure them out and destroy them, I'm going to waste my dragon slots, doing that, and usually with an all dragon army, you're going up, you're going against people that are, you're going to completely wipe out, and sometimes those troops draw them in, which is helpful, draws dragons in deeper. But really quickly, and then I know you want to talk about True Sons and do some shout outs to our clan. I take in the 16 giants. So first I send in some barbs and archers, just as close as I can to get the attention of the clan castle. Even a giant, if I want the giant to walk up to the wall, just one giant, it'll pull all those things out. Then I'll stand back. I'll get the clan castle troops out of defensive range, and as soon as they're that close, so I'm thinking they're witches and wizards or whatever, send in a couple barbs so that way that they're the shield between that and then the archers, and surround them, take them out. And then I'll send in against one wall the giants, and I'll drop one, so that way I know where he's going. As soon as he's got a little bit of a head start, I'll drop the other ones, so that way they can
get spring trapped altogether or something.
Yeah, so one gets spring trapped and clears the way if that's the case. And then I wait, and you got to watch the timing on the mortars, because the mortars.
Yeah, I need to get better at that. They can fuck up your wall breakers. Really badly.
So if you watch it go boom, so tap one wall breaker, see if you can get him in, and watch the mortar slamming down. And then I'll throw in the wall breakers, and then I'll just use my heals, and I'll let the giants do their work for a while. I mean, a minute. So I want them cleared out as much as possible, and then I'll take my archers and barbs and go outside of it, because I want to get 50%, and then I'll send in my wizards at the end, because hopefully any of the spring traps will be set off. And I don't send them all in a line. I spread them out and kind of let them find their way in.
Yeah.
And, it's a awesome combination. I never used it before. But
are you using healers in this composition?
Nope. I have 3 heal spells. and if I can keep,
and that's fast enough to 3-star. I guess you're going against smaller bases.
Yeah, I'm going
right?
against Town Hall 7s. I would go against an 8. It kind of comes down to walls. I think my wall breakers are max now. But yeah, it's working really well. And I comfortably, there was down close to the one that was, I think, 10 spots above me. But, if those giants have been in there doing, and I'll take 3 max hogs in, or 4 max hogs in the clan castle. And I'll send them in someplace that I know that they're going to take out, if I can get a mortar or something like that.
And those are even more important if you bring in level 6 balloons or level 5 hogs when you're going to do an air attack, like a dragon attack, because then you can send them in at an air defense and just immediately, surgically take out one of the air defenses before sending in your dragons at the other air defenses.
Yeah. And it's working like a charm. And I'm going, I can comfortably 3-star, people, because the bases are set a certain way. Those hogs, I'm not counting on them to do all the work. I'm counting on those hogs to do, if I can get to a mortar, awesome. And then all benefits after that, and I will put a heal spell on them. If they're doing what they should and everything's going all right,
Yeah, and that's such a good point because it's similar to doing a hog and heal attack, but it's just so much slower, and that's why like you're saying, the walls are so important in an attack like that, because once you're in interior walls and you're out of wall breakers, or like once you get to the middle and then they need to get back out of the middle to get the rest of the buildings, they need to sit there bashing on the walls in order to get through each one, especially if you're using heal instead of rage. Then it really, the strength of the walls will be the difference between a 2-star and a 3-star for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know why people are taking in rages, unless at that level, because those heals, if it can max those things out as far as you can. I would pick one spell. I would pick the heal spell first, and I'd max it because it buys you time, and especially in those attacks when unless you're using dragons at that level. I mean, if I put a rage on my giants, yeah, I might do some damage, but I'm going to get way more out of those giants if I heal them. And I've seen some awesome attacks with healers.
Time to to take it down, take the 3 stars with heal, then definitely more power to you, because I like to do kind of like mix and match a little bit, I guess, except with hogs, and I do all heals.
Right.
But,
and I'm talking about my Town Hall 7. Okay, my Town Hall 10, Scotty, that's not the strategy, And I would imagine from Town Hall 8, if you're using giants and that composition, that's what I would do. But I see people throw in a rage, and I'm like, at certain levels, I don't see. At the low level, I don't really see the value of the rage yet in my attacks.
It's situational. So, it'll be nice if you drop it on giants and they wipe out a bunch of stuff. But if they're taking fire the whole time, then they're going to die before they can get to the rest of it. But the nice thing about it is they stack. Like, if you have 2 heals, you can't do them at the same time. So if there's a crucial moment where they're all together, then you can drop a rage and a heal, at the same time, right. If there's like a perfect time for that, but otherwise,
if you've got a huge
spread
center,
out,
maybe. But even then at this level, at Town Hall 7, and that's really what I'm talking about, this podcast is that I'm talking about my TH7 and those attacks. Because right now I'm using the giants, bombers, and archers, for Scotty, because I need loot.
And for farming, you mean?
Oh my god, yeah! I've been having the hardest time figuring out post hog. I'm having hog depression. That's what I'm having.
Oh, you were using hogs to farm before?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I take in 22 hogs. I can make back the money. If I could at least get 1,200 dark elixir. but now, so after the war, I tried farming, and so now I can't find the right trophy level. I can't get the right, I got the troop combinations. I was doing minions and balloons, and just not cleaning up. I was trying to save for my queen, and I finally did it. Finally did it today because I went with giants, archers, barbs, and bombers, and put my town hall in so I could get my trophies up to about 2,100. And now I'm doing it. Now I'm making some money, and I hit my 60,000 to take my queen to level 12 because that's what I'm seeing is the biggest a deterrent in these wars against the high level bases. And I think it's going to be the real frontier about fighting.
You mean heroes?
Yeah, the heroes.
Yeah, because it used to be that when you could just lure them so easily, like even if it was a maxed out hero, you're going to lure it out to the corner. It'll take some extra troops to kill it if it has, high hit points. But it would matter the heroes were pretty much irrelevant because no matter how close to the middle you put them, you're always able to lure them once they wander out, out to the edge of their radius. And so anyone who is experienced would always kill the heroes first. And so now that the heroes are always in the
tethered.
Middle, that's defensively, because it used to be like defensively all they were was like a time waster and a troop waster.
Yeah.
And now defensively they're super important.
Right, and where you place them. And so like this last war I'm going in, and I'm looking at who I'm going to attack, and I'm going, man, they've got a king at 23, and not matched to my level at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I maxed out my Velks and my golems, and so I put all my dark elixir there. And since House of L started, I haven't been able to touch anything else with the dark elixir. And now I'm like, I really have to sacrifice my heroes to do that. A brief history of the game, because some people are new listeners and new to the game. Listen to this. When the heroes came out, there was no Iron Fist. The king was slow, and I hated him. He didn't do anything. And the Archer Queen I liked a lot, so I kept leveling up my king because I'm like, I don't even care. And then they introduced the Iron Fist and what's her ability? The cloak?
The Royal Cloak.
The Royal Cloak. And of course they could be lured, at that time. So now if you just started playing, you never know what it's like to be able to lure the king and queen, because now they're chained to their thing. And I figured that out, I think. It's a 3-block radius.
It's such a much smaller radius.
The king will come out, if he's like 2 in, he'll come out, 3, like let's say it's 3, his thing, another thing, and another thing. The queen will only come 1 and shoot on that other thing.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like the 3-block radius is what I was kind of seeing today. Which if you have hogs, you can rage those, which was never, hogs and rage weren't great together.
Yeah,
but
I would only
skip past them fast.
Yeah, because in the past I would only ever use rage with hogs if I was going against a multi-inferno, which I would generally try not to do with hogs. But because at any Town Hall 9 I would just bring in all heal spells, but with when going against Town Hall 10s with multi-infernos, since you can't use heals when you're under attack from the Inferno, and you don't have freeze, then if you put a rage down, then they at least get to the Inferno faster, ideally, and take care of it before they get get damaged too much. But yeah, regardless, that was always a nightmare.
So then with this update, now they've changed the heroes, they've leashed them to the things, and I think what I'm going to do is just work on my queen, get her to the next ability level, and then start my king to the next ability level.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I just finally got my golems going to level 4, which is max for Town Hall 9, and now I can finally get back to my heroes. My king's been at 15 forever, and my queen's been at 12 because when his ability was so much better than hers. Now her ability is caught up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to get him to the next ability level. And so now that I've finally, got the golems where I want them, I can start, I can work on getting her up to 15 before I go to Town Hall 10.
Oh yeah, you're still at Town Hall 9, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 40 Legos, all maxed witches, golems, hogs. So trying to get these heroes up, maybe work on the Valkyries a little bit. I guess I'll have to see. I don't want to, use Dark Elixir that I could be using on heroes if I'm not going to use the Valkyries. And so it's kind of a, tough decision there.
And see, now I think I'm just going to have to be at that place where, for a long time, before this last update, I really thought, you know what, I might just keep my heroes where they're at, because having them down with the wars and they're not, I'd like to get my king up, but I was doing all that stuff and it didn't matter. And now I'm like, oh, it's just like having an Inferno tower,
Mm-hmm.
It's like you want them high. But man, does it suck to have them down. And you know what's going to happen? I'm going to get them to 25. It's going to take me half a year. And then they're going to let them be awake the entire time.
No. They're gonna they had to refund people's money, or at least iTunes refunded people's money if they called in and complained about their heroes and hogs being nerfed at the last update. Like if people called in and said, I spent a bunch of gems on heroes and now it was false advertising or bait and switch or something like that, then they actually like gave them gems back or whatever. And so I think they're going to be real conscious now of like people complaining and stuff, people getting too pissed off about something like that. And because it seems like it's all kind of part of the game, but I could see where if you spend $1 bajillion to get your heroes to level 40, where you'd be really pissed, because they're OP, but you don't know that there's any chance that they're gonna, get sent back down. So I think Supercell has got to be, they're gonna have to be conscious of that now, whether it's them that approves the reimbursement or it's iTunes themselves or however it works. If that kind of stuff is actually happening, they need to keep that in mind, whether there's going to be, backlash from the consumers.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing is we're just about to I'm about to hit the war button, which I feel like there should be a big red flashing light. We only have 49. I was hoping that somebody would come in.
Well, I thought it was Sundays and Tuesdays.
Yeah, we're going to do this last one and then starting Sunday.
But Boneyard's going to do it at the same time, right?
Yeah, he didn't this time. He had 50. And so he had started it earlier. So I said 9. I had 9 o'clock. We're going to have 40. We're going to be at the 45, which sucks because then I feel bad for the lower guys.
Well, yeah, but anyone knows in a clan that if you're in the bottom 4, there's going to be a chance that you're not going to be in the war. It's a motivator to try to stay up there. But yeah, definitely in the True Sons, when we see that people that are particularly good attackers are in the bottom out of the war, we might try to recruit someone real quick, or we might try to, we might boot out someone who, is not active, not very active at the moment. They might say, oh yeah, you can remove me for this war. So, these people can get in it and stuff like that. And, but yeah, for the most part, it's like, I just always say, I don't want to let myself be down at the bottom of any clans, because then there's a chance that I'm not going to be
right
in the war. But I guess, by definition, someone's always got to be at the bottom there.
Well, should we just quick talk about L? I know you want to talk about other things. We could wrap pretty soon and then just follow up with another episode right after this.
Yeah, sure.
So shit. Now Matt. Oh, he's got okay. We would have had a 50-member clan.
What happened? He removed one of his tentacles?
No, he brought somebody in. I wonder if can I cancel the... Here, I'll just cancel
Oh, yeah, you can cancel it.
Okay.
Oh, sweet.
There
Good
we
job.
go. So I'm starting it up.
Tactical move by the Phantom Warlord. Oh, wait, no. he
okay, so what happened is your builders came and left, and okay,
one of the Phantom Warlord, aka the Kraken, he brought one of his tentacles in to get us to 50.
Oh god, that was close. I didn't even think that we could cancel. What?
All right, now he joins back in. Okay. So now you're good to go.
No, it said. What do we got now?
Oh, someone's this guy Jack isn't. This guy eligible. Jack is not eligible, so you can't. Either you temporarily remove Jack and invite him back, or you're gonna go with without the. It'll really only be Dr. Death, Rish 81, and TY.
Big shout out to Rish! Congratulations on a new baby.
Congratulations, Rish.
So, okay, I'm gonna start the Clan War search again. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry, Dr. Death. Sorry, Butcher King.
You can hear the mouth breathers outside barking in the background.
You're letting slip the dogs of war.
So, yeah, things have been going well in L. I think what's awesome is we're hitting our stride. And I think everybody's getting invested, and it's a learning clan. Somebody who's just asking, about being booted. And you're not going to get booted for having a bad attack unless you're going super low, or I think that's why I kicked one guy for the last war. He went way low, and didn't use one attack, and I was like, no, that's not happening, because everybody else is invested in it, and the guys who started out and had some not great attacks at the beginning, who were low levels, are really coming along now.
Yeah, that's a good point, is that you want to give someone, especially if they're not very experienced and they're making kind of rookie mistakes, you want them to give them a little time. Because there's some people that have been playing for a long time and still make really terrible rookie mistakes, and then that's just ridiculous. But for people that are pretty new, like, you can improve their attacking skills just a huge amount in a short amount of time by giving them, the key pieces of advice for clan war attacks.
Well, yeah, and I'm thinking of Shipwreck in the clan, who's like, I have no idea what I'm doing, who's now doing really well. We've got people.
And they can't do much harm because their bases are so low that they're not, even if they're screwing up their attacks, they're not throwing off the balance of, the opponent matchup, because they're,
And I'm thinking of Jessie, who's been going her level or above. Cornhead, he's been Corey, who's been on the podcast before.
Shout out to Corey, podcast veteran, the guy who gave me the idea to get a Twitter account. So it's at True Son Boaz. We can talk about that.
I wonder if we
later.
shouldn't have your builders leave.
Well, no, it's not.
Yeah, because
because they're in it, and it's causing. Yeah,
because he's a higher level.
It's causing Butcher King not to be in it. Yeah, that's a good point. You should have him leave.
Because I think Sir Perry.
I think Butcher King's the one, because Sir Perry's already in it because that Jack guy's not eligible.
And Daniel didn't say anything about the podcast. Sorry, buddy. And that's part of it, is that we can talk to our clans this way,
But yeah,
okay.
More talk about Corey, aka Cornhead. Another guy that's always a contender for most heroic attack, and that's something else I wanted.
Or him,
or you.
I got that one.
Jack did that was Scotty. He called his shot. It was pretty badass. I thought I was going to get the most heroic attack. It was war was almost over. I was holding on to it, and he busts out the alien, right? The leapfrog / the alien, like he had just talked about at the podcast. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing this. He pulls it out again. Was it the number 1 base? It was one of the top 3 bases.
Yeah, it was high.
and it executes it just how I described on the podcast, you know, does multiple jump spells. And I thought that was going to be a dumb idea to have, you know, did you bring in 2 jump spells or 3?
Yeah, the 2 jump spells.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be like, oh, a waste to, you know, have an extra spot on jump spells. But yeah, all his troops just like, bloop, like jumped one, went over, jumped into the next jump spell, and jumped in the middle right away. And yeah, it was pretty
because they'll do it as a path
attack
of least resistance, and so they treat it like it's a hole in the wall. And if you can get your golems in that line, that it's going to go from one defense to another defense, and then pepper it with some with a rage spell in there to send it in. The last war didn't work so well. 49%. I think it did get a 1-star, almost a 2.
But when it's on a really high base like that, I mean, that 2-star is the best you're gonna.
Yeah,
and that's why it was, because usually the most heroic attack. So one thing to note, it's always a 2-star. It's pretty much invariably a 2-star is the most heroic attack. Yeah, because they usually do it like by where you are in like in contrast to the person you're attacking. So if you're jumping up a whole bunch of spots, then that's the time you're going to get most heroic. So if you're like, you know, a Town Hall 8 attacking a Town Hall 10 or something, you know, something like that, and you get a couple stars, then that's when you're going to get the most heroic. And so that's what was so impressive about your attack, is that you were attacking someone similar level and you still got most heroic, because it was such a, you know, they had such a hard base. Yeah, because I was holding on to it because I attacked someone like 12 spots higher than me, and you attacked a guy straight across from you, and I was like, yeah, you got the most heroic for sure. And, you know, lo and behold, it popped up there.
And I think I was just using the alien, which I like to call it, is get in, explode from the middle. You know, Ripley's got the alien, or, you know, the people get the alien in their stomach, it explodes through their chest. You can usually,
so the leapfrog is one of the parts of the alien attack, I guess. You're
creating a throat. And so what you want to do, and it's kind of like the Go Wipe or the Go Wee Wee, you have to clear away the stuff around it. So the troops that you drop are going to go to the nearest thing, and the nearest thing being inside the next wall. So you drop the jump spell, and I'll do that once. So I'll drop 2 golems or 3 golems, and have them go up to the wall. And then when they get there, I'll use the jump spell, and then they'll get inside that, another jump spell, and a rage, so that way they're cleaning up and then getting into the center.
Yeah, they get to the next jump spell super quick, and just suddenly they're in the center there.
And then drop my Velks, which I take about 15, 16 Velks, and have them go in, because they're just spinning around, you know. And
well, yeah, that's the thing, is because I was saying in the last time we recorded, which they might be a little out of sequence, but the last time that I didn't like them because they'll like kind of take the long way around to get between 2 buildings, and so they'll like expose themselves for a while until they get, you know, to the right spot to start attacking. But if you send them all into the middle like that, where there's buildings bunched up together, like it worked like a dream. They like got in there and just vaporized everything, because they were all attacking multiple buildings at the same time.
And they'll last long against Infernos, you know, and that's why once you get to the center, you have to have a rage. And I was taking in a heal, but I will never do that again. It'll only be a freeze to stop an Inferno. Sure. So that worked good. It didn't go so great in the last war, because
I remember that you got a bad beat though. There was something weird where some of your guys inexplicably went around when they should have gone through. Yeah, that was BS.
So I think I had it right, but it just didn't go right.
Just looking at the replay, it was like, that's the AI and the physics there, that just doesn't make sense.
I'm not quite sure what happened. I might have had
seemed like that was, you know, if you're going to do it, you know, it's going to work 9 times out of 10. So that was just a weird glitch or whatever.
And so Taco Lover, who has no, this is what's going to be awesome. He's in our war this time. And since he has no walls, we're going to try putting a healer in his clan castle.
Wait, is he in the...
He's in L now. House of L.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think he's back in Zod.
He joined yesterday.
Oh, there he is. Oh, sweet.
So
So
we
it
were
was only Get Up Kids that...
So we're talking about putting a max healer in Taco's base. Because it'll heal the troops, and when it's done, it'll heal the buildings.
So shout out to, I believe it was Adam in our clan, did... I think it was an homage to the podcast, because he's one of the guys in our clan that was a fan of the podcast and heard about the clan that way and came over. And he did a thing where he had 2 healers in the clan castle, and it was not, they were maxed out healers, but it just was not good because the rate at which they healed the buildings is so much slower compared to the amount of damage being dealt to the buildings, and they don't do splash heal. Like, the great thing about them is they can heal a pack of 15 giants all at the same time. I mean, maybe there's like a ceiling of, I don't know, 10 or whatever, but they can heal a whole bunch of troops at the same time. So when they're healing one building, it's just a huge waste of their, ability. So yeah, it was really cool. It was, I was really glad that he did it because, we had that whole discussion and you could really see it in action. Like, they did just what we were hoping. They stayed back, they healed buildings, they couldn't get lured out, but they just didn't do as much effect as troops that would have been doing damage. But on the other hand, troops that do damage, they get lured out and taken out if it's not an unlurable clan castle. So I guess in that sense, it's nice because they actually stayed with the buildings. But yeah, they just didn't have a very strong effect. But it was interesting to watch them. So if the war isn't,
And Stryker, the last one, he requested 2 wall breakers and he never got attacked, and I wanted to see what happened. So
I've seen wall breakers come out of a defensive clan castle
in
before.
A war,
they just I don't think in a war.
See,
well, no, actually, yeah. In Minnesota Nice 2.0, when Matt got one of his tentacles into the opponent and put wall breakers and stuff in their clan castles, they run up to the nearest attacking troop and explode, and they do splash damage. So it's kind of, they at least do area of effect damage of some sort.
Because I think if you had a bunch, because he had a bunch of archers, and I think if somebody said, "Oh, here come those archers," and you had those last, they were going to drop a bunch of troops, but the level 6, going in. So let me just give some quick shout outs, and then we'll start another episode before it gets too late here.
And I have a kind of a little more detailed shout outs about a couple of the people that I wanted to talk about. So
okay. Do you want to save that for the next?
Or if you get to them, I can throw in it's Chris and Sister Pringle I wanted to talk a little bit about.
Okay, briefly. Chris, new to the clan, Corel Graf, who I attacked before, we got an awesome song from him.
Yeah, shout out to Laz for he made a newspaper article about the war, and he made a song/music video about the war. So very cool.
I haven't seen the video yet, but I have.
I haven't either. I'm curious to see it.
But the song is awesome, and so that'll be on the next. As soon as we've got the go ahead, nice. Mailman. Wharf Mouse has stopped by, and I'll give him a shout out. Wild Streak, Mark, Serbatovis, Atiok, Idon, Nico, Cole, my nephew Josh, who's on thin ice. Who's on thin ice with his attacks because I can't hold him back.
He's got 0 troops donated, 185 received.
So,
which is not a good sign.
It's, I don't want to have to kick him,
He's get in trouble with his parents.
But the thing is, everybody else is earning their spot in the clan. So
I've had to kick my nephews out of clans before, multiple times.
Titan Lion, TFNJ, Matt, who's just rock. I mean, he's
AKA Phantom Warlord.
Phantom Warlord, who can, he's just an amazing player. You know, so many of these people are. Lily, who is a boy. He let his daughter name the clan. Cornhead, who's Corey. Xylor, who's been around. Sasquatch, who is Loch Ness. The captain, Ivanzi, who is unique name. So now we've got 2 of him in the clan, which that's awesome. Close Your Eyes. Jesse, who's kicking ass. Snow Rider, who's new. Summer, RG Baseball, Moaning Lemon.
Moaning Lemon's someone else, right?
Captain Crazy Nuts.
Oh, okay.
Storm Rider, who's new. Brain Link, JD, Donkey Nuts, who's
another
really,
tentacle.
Jupiter, JD, Rhubarb, Taco Lover. I can't wait to watch attacks by him on him. Zachy Baby's back. Lords 95. Listen to that advice, Lords, on the attack about because he had a really good start to it. If he would have got the Clan Castle on the last one, he would have got it. Sister Pringle, who's rocking it. Shipwreck, Stretch, Sir Perry, the Barcher King,
Barcher King, very cool name. I like that.
Yeah,
name.
Dr. Death, Rich,
shout out to Dr. Death,
and TY Mom. So,
yeah, really executing well, and it's cool to see people, you know, using skills that they've learned on their higher up accounts, you know, using it with their lower accounts. But so the 2 people I wanted to do a little more detailed thing about, one is Chris, who, like Scotty was saying, is a newer guy, but in our war that, like, we got a bunch of stars on high up guys, but Chris, he 3-starred 2 bases in like the top 8, which I have not seen since, you know, Hogs got the latest, you know, the latest update that kind of screwed him over. He got 3-star, and I was like, how the hell do you get 3 stars on those bases? He got 6 stars in the war, all on, you know, high level Town Hall 10s, and he used Hogs, and he was explaining how he did it, that the giant bombs are such a huge problem for the Hogs. You need to kind of figure out where they're going to be. So you don't want to go for a base that has a bunch of open areas where they could be. You want to try to figure out, you know, a base with kind of small amount of open areas, try to send, you know, when you lure the clan castle, send the Hogs over the giant bombs to try to trigger them. And he had some other strategies. He was saying he doesn't really worry about heroes because they outrun them. I was thinking he would want the heroes spread out, but he's like, I don't really worry about the heroes.
That's why a rage with the Hogs too will work, because then they'll really outrun the heroes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then they at some point they have to come back and
go wipe.
Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really has to be a particular kind of base for the Hogs to work on it. But yeah, definitely no. You have to be able to lure the clan castle. If it's a base where you can't lure the clan castle, then definitely not going to work for Hogs. But he found 2 really high level bases and 3-starred both of them with Hogs. And it's, I mean, even in the True Sons, you don't see people 3-star, you know, high level Town Hall 10s and stuff. So big shout out there. That was a revelation.
I am watching him. He's Town Hall 10. You know, and maybe I should be figuring out the Hog's weakness.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to myself, is maybe, you know, like it's kind of a Hog renaissance there, you know, led by Chris. So yeah, I wanna try to, you know, figure that out. But it's also so easy to get a 0-star by sending your Hogs over a giant bomb, and then just if they have a double giant bomb, your raid's just over.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the tricky thing. He said it's a total crapshoot because it can be a complete fail. But he said, you know, he just happened to have these 2 that were 3 stars. So he's like, yeah, definitely don't think that I always 3-star.
You know what? Let's just keep going. I'll cut this one in half, and then
okay.
So we can, if you want to, just keep going and talk about the.
Yeah, well, the other person I wanted to talk about was Sister Pringle. Big shout out to Sister Pringle. Very, very funny, very dry, witty, sarcastic sense of humor. We were conjecturing in a previous podcast that she was one of Matt's accounts because of the way she talked and stuff, and what kind of like really good advice she was giving, considering how low of a level she is and stuff.
Right.
And but so she told me she showed me her main account, which is like a level like high 90s. I think it was like Swan 2727, but I don't remember what the clan was. But so this account, it had a better gold grab than me. It was like 450 million. It was like probably almost Scotty level gold grab. And yet the base was significantly worse than mine. And so I was like, and I don't spend a bunch of gems or anything. So I was like, you haven't been playing very long, have you? And she's like, yeah, I've been playing like 5 or 6 months. And so to think that she's been playing like a third of the time as me and has a much better gold grab than me, like I was like, wow, you are an amazing farmer. She was like, yeah, I got a little burnt out. I was farming, really hard and stuff. And so that's an interesting thing. It's kind of like King Richie, like the gold grab tells a story about the person. Like, if they have a low gold grab but a good base, either they're spending gems or they've been playing since like day one and maxed out their mines and collectors, immediately. And so they've been harvesting resources to get there. And then if someone has a really high gold grab but a lower base, it means that they've been playing for less time because they don't have that added benefit of, a year worth of elixir and gold harvesting from the mines and pumps and stuff. And so, yeah, shout out to her. I've never seen that kind of, farming in such a small amount of time like that. And so I think she's having a nice break now being in this clan, with her lower account, just because she must have been just going real hard on that, on the main account.
Well,
so
those
she's,
guys
I think, on a little vacation here.
And that we took on a couple of wars ago, their gold grabs were ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
They were.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
They were in the trillions.
Well, billions.
Yeah. Just ridiculous.
Yeah, that was crazy. So many of we were like, oh man, look at these guys' bases. Like they spend so many gems.
Yeah,
and so
they were total gemmers.
Yeah, we're like they might not be doing very good at attacking and then we looked at them and I was like, oh yeah, it looks like 100 million, and I was like, wait, let me count count the digits here, and I was like, holy crap, that's whatever it would be 10 digits, and so many of them. There was 1 billion. 1.2 billion, 1.5 billion, and like that's crazy because the maximum gold grab you can have is 2 billion. The counter doesn't even go up higher than that, which is kind of weird. Like, how is it so hard to be able to have the counter go up to at least 999 billion, or I don't know, whatever. That seems kind of weird, but yeah. So like the best farmers in the game have 2 billion, and these guys. So anyway, that was weird. I was like, how the hell do they have time to war when they're farming like that? But was that the one? Was those the guys that were the ridiculous outmatch that beat us?
Yeah, and we just got matched up against Bac Trung Nam, and I swear we have Vietnam must be the second most popular place for Clash of Clans, because
I could see that. Well, we get a lot of. There's Chinese. I guess I don't know how to tell the difference between Chinese and Vietnamese. Not to sound racist.
They usually just have, and because this was in Minnesota Nice, I was looking at the war log. Usually they have Viet in it.
Oh, or Nam. I see. This one's Nam,
and maybe the last one wasn't, but yeah. So.
Oh yeah, the language looks a little different. Look at this. Hon Tran Tan Wars. Aiko Tu Hien Se Kick Out.
Oh, is that what they're...
Vitor Wrong Lai Clan. Sorry. I love that where it's like they mix in the English words. So they're saying it looks like you need to have Archer level 5 or 6, donate 50%, probably 50% that you receive or whatever, don't receive more than double your donations, and something you'll get kicked out, probably not using your war tax. Something out of the clan. Sorry.
And so we've got a really good matchup here, unless they're amazing attackers. Because they have.
Jeez, 1.3 billion. The leader, 1.3 billion gold grab. What the hell is up with these people?
I think
there must not be much to do in Vietnam.
Well, no, I think they're farming really hard, which usually means that they're. Well, I'm looking at some of these bases here, even though they're...
Another guy, 1.7 billion. Holy shit.
So, if I'm looking at...
What?
Some of the nines. I'm looking at some of the nines. So, we got one TH10 that we're up against. Their Town Hall 9s.
They only have one Town Hall 10?
But they're maxed Town Hall 9s.
They only have one? What?
Yeah.
But I mean, so do they have yellow? Oh yeah, they're working on their level 10 walls there. Wow, level 30 heroes, which is max for Town Hall 9. So this guy, what is he doing with his Dark Elixir? If his heroes are maxed.
Well, I'm guessing that they're sitting way down in getting gold.
Oh, so they're not even farming much Dark Elixir. Yeah, that makes sense.
So this will be a good war before we do our little bit of a break for the weekend and then get back on the war cycle. But this was one of the things, like with kind of having that balance in the clan. Now this one, this one seems like, well, we're getting really good end of the deal.
But I don't know. Well, yeah, I guess even if they're amazing bases, they don't have infernos, Oh my god, this guy's got almost all level 10 walls. I thought I was stalling on going to Town Hall 10. This makes me feel much better about myself, waiting to get my heroes to 15 and my walls halfway done and stuff.
And I think the only reason number one is because he's the Town Hall 10.
Yeah, he's much worse than, overall he's spent much less gold than these other guys with just that shows you what a huge thing. He only has level 1 infernos and he has like a bunch of level 7 walls, and a bunch of level only 2 expos. So that shows you how huge infernos are, that he would be above all these guys that have spent 4 times as much gold in the game as he has.
I think the smartest thing you could do is when you get to the ability to do infernos, you max them. You don't stop, because you don't know what it's like to have them there and to take them down, for a couple days. Mm-hmm. Upsets your whole base.
Oh, I see. So if they're going to be down, you just want them to stay down while you're not used to having them, so you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah.
Basically.
And they are
Makes
the
sense.
biggest deterrent in the game. And I was thinking about this, because you think about the history of the game, and remember when Expos got introduced, and then I remember the Infernos, and the Infernos are the real. I almost wish Infernos never came along. Because
but everything needs to evolve. I feel like it would have got kind of stagnant if there weren't Infernos. Like, I'm sure they had to do something.
We need a higher level army camp. Because I think a new army camp would be in order, or a new spell factory level, because I would really like it to be possible to go, if you've got max troops, not the king and queen necessarily, but I've got everything max except for for P.E.K.K.A.s, and then the freeze and the jump. I've got those 2 left to do. But I'm finally going to do my P.E.K.K.A.s. But I would like to think that you could 3-star with a really good strategy.
Yeah, I think that it's just 3-starring is just overrated, basically. Like, especially at the top level, the best attackers are going to get 4 stars in a war, and they're going to be, by far the biggest contribution to the clan and stuff. And,
Yeah.
2-starring 2 high-level bases is... But, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, if you can 2-star high-level base, that's awesome, especially on your first attack, because of everybody in your clan, if we can get I don't know, I think if you can at least 1-star 1 through 5, 2-star 2 through the rest of the Town Hall 10s, then it comes down to a really good matchup below. Because usually you can clean up, and you do count on your lower level people to not waste attacks, because their attacks really count. And
it is important that they attack early. Like, that is, usually it's like, I remember you guys were talking about, it doesn't make a big difference when you attack, which it doesn't. I mean, if 3 stars early counts the same as 3 stars later, but it's easier for everyone else if the lower level people use their attacks first, because then which bases need to be cleaned up. Otherwise, you're not.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of where the next frontier is figuring out the timing in attacks in the wars, and that's usually, I want in L the lower level guys to go within the first 12 hours max. I want them to go, because it's pretty clear. Go with your strengths, and then go around your number. Especially when you're in the bottom 5, because that's usually where you could hit. And then when you're the higher level people need to be able to have time to know A, where to go, and B, to train their armies. And so that takes hours, because like your heroes have to sleep. So I'll wait, and a lot of our guys are really good at waiting. But if we're all playing the strategy of, hey, if you can hit somebody in the top 10 for 2, and you can do it, you do your attacks now. And some of us will hang back and clean up. But we're starting to get to that point where how people will attack, and in finding that rhythm, then it becomes more about, okay, you can attack more when you want. Like Unique, he goes up. So it's like, well, attack. So usually when 8 hours happens, I just say clean up. At this point, do what you want. If you're Town Hall 9 and below, especially, go for what you think you can definitely 3-star at that point. So that the Town Hall 10s can get ready and have time for them to go in and do their attacks. Because it's a lot of pressure and it's a lot of time.
Yeah, and a lot of scouting, a lot of discussing in chat, which side should I go from, when should I deploy this, what kind of should I bring, 3 golems or 2 golems, all the different discussions that people have about it. There's a lot of, if someone's going to, execute a real nice attack, a lot of times they're,
Ding, ding, ding. That is the alarm bell saying that this has been a very special episode of Clash of Clans Podcast with Scotty and Boaz. Why don't you get a hold of us at clashclanspodcast@gmail.com, or go to the website, clashclanspodcast.com. Also follow us on Twitter at WBSMT Radio, or give us a call at 424-27-CLASH. The episode will resume with Boaz in special episode number 22, so stay tuned. Keep it clashy.
Skilly beep 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 skilly beep.